Bonjour, j'espère que tu vas bien. Alors, bienvenue sur ma chaîne et dans un tout nouvel audio, un peu différent parce que déjà le texte va être en langue anglaise. Si tu ne comprends pas tout, ce n'est pas très grave. Je vais essayer de te raconter ça comme on raconterait une histoire, puisque de toute façon, c'en est une, puisqu'il s'agit d'un mythe concernant Nataraja. Et Nataraja, c'est un petit peu une incarnation du dieu Shiva. Et le livre dans lequel cette histoire est racontée est en anglais. Et si bien entendu, je pourrais tout à fait le traduire en français, je ne suis pas sûre que j'aurai l'autorisation de le faire. Tandis que si je cite clairement dans cet audio et dans la barre d'infos la provenance de ce livre, là par contre, j'ai tout à fait le droit de le faire. Le livre en question s'appelle Myth of Asanas and the Stories at the Heart of the Yoga Tradition de Alanna Kaivayla et Arjuna Van der Kooij, et il a été préfacé par Shiva. Donc c'est un livre qui est en anglais, comme tu l'as compris, qui n'est pas forcément très facile à trouver et surtout qui n'est pas bon marché. Voilà. Alors si tu as envie que je te raconte une petite histoire, peut-être pour méditer, peut-être simplement pour le plaisir de te détendre, eh bien, je t'invite à t'installer confortablement si ce n'était pas déjà fait. Et on est parti pour l'histoire de Nataraja en anglais. Natarajasana is a standing balance posture that involves bending one knee and grasping the ankle, a foot from behind. As the yogi then leans forward and kicks back with the foot, an arm stretches forward to complete the pose. This pose is the physical embodiment of one of the many guises of Shiva. Nietzsche once wrote, "If they want me to believe in their God, they'll have to sing better songs. I could only believe in the God who dances." As one of the Hindu Trinity, Shiva has many different personae that illuminate his essence. The most well-known in his role as the king dancer, or in Sanskrit, Nataraja. In this guise, he is commonly portrayed with snakes around his neck, dreadlocks standing on end, balancing atop a tiny dwarf, and encircled by a ring of fire. Oddly enough, this imposing image conveys a lot of compassion if we know how to look at it through a yogic lens. The ages of the world are long, and at the end of each one, Shiva stands ready to turn it all to dust, so that yet another world can be created to exist for yet another age, while we, as mere mortals, will never live long enough to see an entire age from the beginning to end. The desolate form of Shiva as Nataraja sees each age as only a passing moment in time. In one of his hands, he holds a drum, and with each beat, he signals the death and rebirth of another age. And this drum beats fast. Undaunted by the slow pace of cosmic disintegration, Shiva dances to his own music within a circle of flame known as samsara. Samsara is the cyclical pattern in which we are all stuck, the constant repetition of birth, life, and death. This corresponds well to the idea of reincarnation. Another way to think of samsara is as the many ways in which we get stuck in patterns and habits throughout our lives that do not serve us, but rather inhibit us. This spinning karmic cycle of samsara does not trouble Shiva. He just sees it as one more rhythm to dance to. Shiva is unafraid of this binding wheel of fire, just as he is unafraid of all the serpents around his neck. Snakes are potent metaphors within yogic philosophy, and for most of us they are frightening creatures, especially the cobra that dangles from Shiva's neck as he dances. The poison the cobra carries symbolizes the toxic nature of avidya, the misunderstanding of ourselves as something other than divine. The cobra's poison is not toxic to our Lord of the Dance. He has found the remedy to that affliction, which is enlightened knowledge, and he carries its symbolic flame in one of his palms. Yoga seeks to rid us of the ignorance of avidya through various practices such as asana, pranayama, and meditation. And by constantly reminding us of the fact that we are all divine in nature, still, we constantly forget, become locked in the cycle of samsara, and fall prey to the poison of avidya. In the depiction of Shiva as the king dancer, ignorance is represented by the tiny dwarf-like demon upon which he stands. This seemingly helpless creature is usually busy causing mischief, which mainly consists of keeping us all caught up in our own daily dramas. Once again, Shiva proves to be the master. he does not let this little character get the best of him, and instead uses him as a pedestal for his dance. By standing over the demon of ignorance, he is able to have a higher gaze, or a higher level of consciousness, which allows him to rise above daily drama. For him, the only thing worth paying attention to is the rhythm of the dance. Shiva, the cosmic dancer, is not filled with guilt over the destruction of each age. He knows that everything that is born must also die. He understands that destruction clears the path for rebirth, and that in rebirth and growth there is compassion. Brahma, the creator, cannot do his work properly if Shiva, the destroyer, has not done his. It is Shiva's destruction that provides the fertile platform for Brahma's process of rebuilding. In order to dance like Shiva, we must feel free. Freedom comes from knowing there is nothing that binds us permanently. Shiva's dance is born out of a liberation from the fear of change. He teaches us to ride the wave of change as if we are on a cosmic surfboard, coasting towards the shore of bliss. Shiva's lessons are integral to the yogic path. In the Yoga Sutra, Patanjali outlines 5 obstacles that prevent us from true freedom, which are called the kleshas. The first is avidya, as we've seen, and the 5th and most powerful obstacle is the fear of death, or abhinivesha. Death is the ultimate change and takes many forms in our lives, until the greatest death of all, which comes at the end. As the Lord of Death and Destruction, Shiva understands that change, even one as great as death, is really the only constant in the universe. The fear of change causes more stress than possibly any other fear. It is fear of changing borders that causes many wars. And the fear of changing our views makes us cling to dogma. The sheer desire to have things remain the same according to the Buddha is the nature of suffering. Conversely, embracing change liberates us from suffering. The scientific law of conservation of mass states that matter can neither be created nor destroyed. In a sense, if you want to make something new, you must destroy something old or allow it to die. So Shiva, in his ultimate wisdom, is utterly compassionate in his destruction. He gives us the freedom to demolish our social norms and create something entirely new. He creates the space for us to make positive, abundant choices in our lives and let go of fear. If we truly want change, then we must learn to embrace a little death and destruction. Natarajasana allows us to experience a couple of physical elements that can bring about fear in our bodies. Backbending and balancing both elicit fear because of the openness and bravery they require. We tend to store fear in our heart, according to the chakra system. And when we open the heart, we give ourselves an opportunity to let go of fear. Likewise, balancing gives us an opportunity to overcome our natural fear of falling and to be brave and free. If we can backbend and balance with the same sense of liberation with which Nataraja dances, then it will be easier for us to embrace this freedom in our minds and hearts.